If things couldn't go worse tonight,
Take two.
if things couldn't go worse tonight, this is actually the second take of us going live. I just did a whole minute intro for you guys, and nobody saw it but Aiden and our producer Don Yang. So, if that wasn't embarrassing enough, the Raptors lost to the Detroit Pistons for the eighth time in 11 tries to the Dwane Casey led Pistons. And this, guys, let me tell you. Remember, like a few games ago, Don says he remembers. Remember a few games ago, I said that this Detroit Pistons game coming up in the schedule is not going to be fun. It's not a guaranteed win. If anything, it's more of a guaranteed win for the Pistons. And here I am after a 103 to 87 loss from the Detroit Pistons. This is the Wrap Up Live. This is the official Raptors Republic post game live show. I'm here with Aiden Moss, our other host, and this show is produced by Don Yang. Aiden, let me just quickly ask you, man, because we're going to keep this one short. It's a 103-87 loss. It wasn't even like a 3-point loss, 2-point loss, 6-point loss. This is a 16-point loss. It looks ugly. It was ugly. The Raptors are now 20-19 on the season. 2 straight losses versus the Detroit Pistons. Is this the worst loss of the season, Aiden? Please, man, just tell me. Is it?
Didn't lead for the entire game.
Yeah, did not. Wow. This is just, it really couldn't get worse than this. The Detroit Pistons, by the way, have 10 wins now on the season. They are 14th in the Eastern Conference. 10 wins, 31 losses. And 2 of those 10 wins came against your Toronto Raptors. Dwane Casey, I think, just has the game plan. I don't know. I don't know if he just has his team in the hyperbolic time chamber before these Raptors games. I don't know what he's doing.
Hold on. A hyperbolic time chamber. One chamber, two functions.
That's a DBZ reference for all the Dragon Ball Z people watching. I don't know. I don't know what to tell you. Trey Lyles went off. They could not stop Trey Lyles.
That was fucked up. I have to say, that was I think the biggest problem I had with this entire game. How does Trey Lyles eat us up like that?
This is horrific. I before this game even started, I told you, Aiden, I can only go for 30 minutes today. We're gonna have a little bit of a shorter show. You were okay with that? It's a Friday night. I'm sure people don't want to see us talk about the Raptors and Pistons for an hour plus tonight anyways. But Khem Birch quickly entered this game. He was out. So that was like the beginning of the end for Toronto. And then everything just fell apart. Like you said, they didn't take a lead this entire game. I don't know. OG Anunoby, terrible game. It felt like it was Pascal Siakam versus the other 7, 8, 9 Pistons that played today. I don't know. I'm looking at the entire box score. Fred VanVleet, yeah, he had 24 points, but 6 for 21? 6 for 21 from Fred VanVleet. I mean, Dwane Casey, I guess, just owns us. I don't know what else to say. He owns us and he owns Nick Nurse because 8 out of 11. I know you mentioned right before we went live that they swept us in a COVID-stricken year, right? But I'm going to be honest with you, Aiden. Like, we lost both this year, and we were just about fully healthy this time. I mean, I'm not doing the Khem Birch excuse. He's probably the least most important Raptor in the starting 5. Precious stepped in 24 minutes, didn't really do much, to be honest. But I mean, if we're still relying on Precious to give it to us, like, we're doomed anyways. Utah didn't play well. It seemed like he couldn't make a shot. I don't know, man. I guess before we get into all the negatives, Aiden, what are some
What do you mean? We already got into them.
But before we get into the rest of the negatives, what are some positives you took away from today?
Well, OG had a good first quarter.
Yeah,
I think he hit 3 threes. I mean, I think there weren't a lot of positives to take. I think Pascal played pretty well, but he missed a couple of bunnies that we really needed down the stretch. Precious's rebounding was kind of nice. It was kind of interesting seeing a full court press. I kind of have had dreams of this long team doing that. It wasn't that effective in the sense that it didn't force that many turnovers, but it did force Detroit into a lot of early shots, which kind of quickened the pace, which we needed to do.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, exactly. That's really the only positive I kind of took from that.
I don't know, Aiden, what's the saddest part about this game. I really I don't know who to focus on when we talk about the negatives. OG, like I said earlier, had a really bad game, tough game. Fred VanVleet couldn't get a shot to drop. And yet here he was with 24 points. He did go to the free throw line 8 times, but all 6 of his shots that he made were from 3. So obviously 6 threes and then 6 free throws, 24 points. Scotty Barnes, man, the entire game just looked out of it. Wasn't
Yeah,
aggressive. Just seemed like he
yeah,
was just trudging down court. That was sad to see. But yeah, it was a Pascal game. Siakam was really the only one who looked energetic, a guy that was crashing for offensive rebounds. And I was watching this again from the Pistons commentators' point of view. Sometimes, I need a break of Jack and all those guys. So I was
what?
watching it from there. So I
I
know,
could
I know.
Jack could narrate my life. I'd be okay with it.
I'm okay with Jack. I just like hearing it from another team's point of view. And
Yeah, I like that you
the
do
the,
that.
the saddest, I think, part about this is the confidence in which the Detroit Pistons commentators were speaking with versus the Toronto Raptors. They just continuously mentioned how the Pistons, since they've hired Dwane Casey, have had the Raptors number. I don't know. Before the game started, I was listening to them talk about how the Raptors have played very well this month, which they're not wrong. They cited Fred VanVleet averaging 29.5 points in the last, I think it was like 10 games or so, which was like third in the entire league. And one of their, I guess, keys to the game, I guess you could say, was stopping Fred VanVleet. And if you could stop Fred VanVleet, you have a pretty good shot at stopping this offense.
Yeah.
Oh man. Very depressing game. I see you guys in the comments. We're reading the comments. Don't worry, guys. I know it was a very sad, depressing game. Guru says, well, that was ugly. I mean, that's probably the easiest way you could put it. And yeah, this is the Detroit Pistons championship, Aiden. So, I mean, it is what it is, right?
You can kind of see Casey's imprint here too, because like early on, they really took Siakam out of the game, which I think was smart. And not only they took him out, but I think they knew how to take him out. And it was like they denied him the ball. They almost double teamed him off ball. It's like they just made it difficult for him to get, or it made the Toronto they made it difficult on Toronto to get their offense going. And you saw that early with like these sloppy, like crud passes that led to turnovers and these big Diallo dunks. Like that's the kind of Casey Raptors nemesis thing that you could kind of feel, is he knew how to disrupt our offense. But I mean, really what it comes down to is just we come into these games where we're the favorites and we have zero energy. Like we lack that killer instinct, at least like across the team, in the sense that we need to win these games. You got to walk in, you got to grab by the throat and end it early. And we don't do that. Instead, we go down by 20, and then sometimes we make a run and sometimes we don't. And like you saw in that fourth quarter, like all of a sudden we're like, all right, like let's do this. Like we're the Raptors, and we all get excited, and Devlin's making you feel all optimistic, and there's 4.5 minutes left and we're down 13, and we're like, oh man, like this is going to happen. And then it doesn't. And it's like that shouldn't even be a thing. That should be happening in the second quarter, And so like, I think that's what I'm really frustrated about. The viewers are saying like Scotty looks out of sorts. He did. He looked very sluggish. He just also looked like disengaged, And I think I've been saying this for a while. Like that's on Nurse. Like they got to get Scotty the ball in the right positions. They can't have fucking Precious Achiuwa in the corner with the ball, like looking off Scotty who's wide open. Like we just can't have that. Like there needs to be a pecking order, and that comes with the coach, like delineating roles and giving responsibility to certain guys. And Scotty needs that to flourish, especially when our offense stinks.
Yeah, I think this would have been a good game to see a guy like DJ Wilson maybe step into Precious's role, because I just find it very weird that Nick Nurse is adamant on not just playing Precious. I mean, people are okay with Precious being on the court. I mean, this Raptors team, it's not the Brooklyn Nets. It's not the Milwaukee Bucks. This is an incredibly talented team. this is a team that, their bench has been clearly one of the worst in the league thus far this season. And for me, I would have loved to see a guy like DJ Wilson come into this game. Pure energy, hustle. Precious, for some reason, every time it felt like he was on the court, he was kind of getting delegated to, like, you sit in the corner. But it's like, why is he sitting in the corner if he can't shoot from the corner? Because now the Pistons are essentially just double teaming Pascal, double teaming Fred on the drive. Precious is wide open, and he doesn't even have the confidence to shoot the shot. And then when he does have that slight confidence, he's doing these little dribble moves and to pull up mid-range jump shots, which if you've watched the Raptors this season, that has never worked. I tweeted it out today. The Precious mid-range jump shots are not working for this team. Like, it's not a high percentage shot. I really want to see the raw numbers when it comes to that specific shot of Precious outside of the paint this season, but it just hasn't been good. It's been terrible to watch. And I hate when the offense is minimized and relegated to those type of plays.
Yeah, I actually wrote about it in my 5 things today about Precious Achiuwa in isolation. He's 0.65 points per possession, which is bad, as you can guess.
It's atrocious.
And he does this thing, which he did several times in this game, where he gets the ball and he's so slow processing the game right now that it takes him 5 seconds to figure out what to do and then commence what he's doing, which is typically the wrong thing. And as a consequence, he kills the flow of the game. He misses the open guy. There was a couple. This is the perfect.
You see the hesitation there? Like,
he
left them wide open.
Fake passes to Scotty, who's wide open. Like, and then what happens after this play is there's a swing and bang, there's open 3. Like, that's basketball. That's what you do, is you like move the ball and find the open person. Especially when a defense is scrambling, and Precious has done this all year, and it's killed us. And this is a smooth brown man said we have the worst shooting guards in the league, and it's without Gary we do. And you said it, like, the weak side is Scotty and Precious, and it's like those aren't shooters. Like, Detroit's not scared of that, and so that really hurts our spacing.
This is my question. So, Don, if you can you bring up that same play again? Because I want people to watch Precious on this play. When he has that hesitation, he finally delivers the ball to Pascal, and he just wants to sit on the perimeter.
Yeah.
But Pascal tells him, cut in. These guys are going to double team me as soon as you cut in. And when he cuts, Scotty's open. Scotty knows every time to make that extra pass. And then Fred open is probably the best shot you're going to get in this offense. So the fact that, he made this entry pass and then he started just drifting out, like, that's not your game, Precious. Like, you don't have to have Pascal tell you to cut in. You should see that, okay, maybe I'm not shooting that well. Maybe this isn't my game. This 3-point shot is not my game. This isn't who I am. So I'm going to cut in regardless. I'm going to make this entry pass, cut in. Corey Joseph is on Pascal. Pascal knows that. And Josh Jackson knows that as well. So he immediately double teams him. And then it just, turns out to be a wide open shot for the Raptors. But it just, those little things just really piss me off. I know this ended in a good play, Adon, but it just really pisses me off that Precious has to be told, okay, you need to do this for the offense to operate. And I hate to really harp on him specifically, because really no Raptor besides Pascal had a great game. But these little things just hamper the offense so much. And it's just annoying for me to watch. I'm really happy we caught it on this play, even though it ended up in a good shot for Toronto.
Yeah, no, totally. And I mean, Boucher can be guilty of this too.
Yeah.
I mean, part of it is that it just kind of really outlines how shallow our team is, like, roster wise. Like, we have to rely on these guys. And part of it is that, like, I don't know for whatever reason, it's I mentioned it, it's like we almost empower these guys too much, right? Like, I think I do like that about our team and our management and our coaching system, is that we want guys to go out there and test the waters a little bit. Mm-hmm. But when you entrust this much to a player like Precious and he doesn't do the right thing, like, you're kind of in a tough spot. And this is just one play, but, like, it does really hurt us. On the other hand, Precious is a great rebounder and he's an excellent defender. And so, like, you can only get so upset about this.
The thing is, Adon, with me, it's like, how much do you have to sacrifice in the name of development? Because every single time I feel like Precious is a non-factor in a game, if anything, he's harming the team. I always see people on Twitter. I've seen even Oren say it sometimes, and obviously this isn't like just an Oren thing. This is like an overwhelming opinion on Raptors Twitter and sometimes even in this comment section where people are like, well, you have to play Precious because if there's a season where you have to play him, it's going to be this one. This team's not that great. You play him, you let him play through the lumps, and it is what it is. It's an 82 game season though, Adon. Like there's a lot of playing time that Precious is going to get in the season. You don't have to force feed these minutes to him. You don't. And yes, there might not be, better options on the bench, but DJ Wilson, to me, like you can't really get worse than how Precious played tonight. You can't really get worse than how a lot of the players played tonight. But why do we have to witness? Like we've seen tons of Raptors players get benched, especially bench players. Like I know Precious came in as a quasi starter because Ken Birch went out immediately. I think he's having like something wrong with like there was like a face. He got hit in the face or something like that, and he went out.
He broke his nose. I think Phoenix was saying that he might be off the road trip.
Yeah, which is
he got
I'd expect that right away. Yeah, but it's just come on, like you don't have that many big options off the bench. I mean, Utah's probably as big as it gets, other than DJ Wilson. So and they played Utah, so it's like just throw in DJ. Like let's see what he has, even for 5 or 6 minutes. Like Precious 24 minutes, I think was just.
Yeah, but he was
minutes too much.
He had the best plus minus of the team. Like he does play well when he for most. The thing is like we're just asking too much of him, right? Like especially when Scottie's doing nothing, which he was for a big part of this game. Now you have two guys who like offensively are just kind of standing there. So like, I think that's really what hurt us.
Scottie has such a penchant for that, man. I hate it. Like it just feels like he's just dragging himself around sometimes. And sometimes I'll even forget he's on the court completely because he just doesn't want to be a part of the play, it seems like. And it just sucks. It's like I keep going, Scottie, please be aggressive. Please be aggressive. And then he had that one aggressive play where he drove, spin move, finished with his left. And then the Raptors gave it to him again. They're like, yo, give us some more. Pascal's like, I can't do it every single play. Fred's like, I can't do it every play. Give us some more, Scottie. And yeah, he did miss the next shot, but you just want to see more aggressiveness, man, from Scottie. Like, this was nice. Like, he can't really be stopped. Like, look who's on him. Like, the Pistons defenders, like, they have a lot of length. Diallo has a lot of length. Like, Josh Jackson, that's a lot of length. But, like, it's like when Trey Lyles is their biggest guy on the court, just attack the rim. Just keep attacking the rim. This could have been a game where they absolutely dominated like they did in the last game on the offensive glass. But, I mean, it just wasn't going. And it didn't help, obviously, Adon, that it felt like with every Raptors run in this game, it was, like, negated by some crazy Pistons shot that they had to make. The Corey Joseph shot, I was just like,
that killed us.
I don't know what Dwane Casey's just conjuring before these games because it's like there's external forces at play when Corey Joseph's making shots like that. And then Killian Hayes on the last run of the game made that wild, layup where he just threw it up and it almost touched the top of the backboard and just sneaked its way in. So
Cade had that corner three too that killed us. He played really well.
There's the update on Ken Birch from Vivek Jacob, who writes for Raptors.com. He says Nurse says Birch has broken his nose and is on his way back to Toronto.
He can't catch a break, man.
Yeah, this is not a great season health-wise for Ken Birch. It's one thing after the other. And I know a lot of Raptors fans are going to blame him for this, but it's like, how can you really blame him for a freak injury like that? Whenever someone gets hit in the face like that, I mean, you can't really stop it. Yeah, I mean, this game was not fun to watch, Adon.
Talking about OG, like I've been noticing this a lot in his games. Is like he's having a lot of trouble getting by guys recently, and Samson talked about and Oren and I talked about how like he's relying a lot on his jumper as kind of like a bailout, and it's concerning, like OG's gonna grow and evolve and hopefully get better, but it really showed in this game. Like he just couldn't really get by guys. Nobody could. And that was really the problem. Detroit's defense didn't have to work that hard. We just couldn't really create for ourselves.
Yeah. I mean, I think OG realized midway through the game that, hey, there's times on this court where I'm the strongest guy on the court. I think even with Trey Lyles on the court, he's the strongest guy on the
By
court.
far.
And he started just going down low, and it was working. And then, like you said, went straight back to, you know, the little dribble left, dribble right, step back, shoot, and then it wasn't working. I think OG, like you said, had a very good first quarter. I honestly thought the way that quarter started, I'm like, okay, we might see this a 30-point game from OG. Like, this might be the one where the Raptors come out with a win and OG just destroys
I
his
know.
team. But
I felt like that early. I'm like, okay, OG is going to save the day. He is the third part of the trident, you know?
Yeah, exactly. Like, we're finally, because I feel like a lot of the praise, and deservedly so, has went to Fred VanVleet in the last couple of weeks, and then Pascal Siakam also, who have played like absolute all-stars. But OG's kind of been like the guy left out. He hasn't played bad. I think in this game he played bad, but he's been the guy that's kind of left. So that's why I wanted to see a big game from OG, and it started off that way, and then it just all started crumbling for him and Fred, which wasn't fun to see. But I mean, it's just difficult, man. The thing I keep coming back to is it's the Dwane Casey coached Detroit Pistons, which hurts a lot. And I don't know if there's I'm not starting any beef that isn't there or anything between, you know, the Raptors and Dwane Casey, because Dwane Casey, I know, has a lot of love for a lot of the Raptors he coached, including OG. But I don't know if there's a little bit of, I don't want to call it animosity, Adon, between Nick Nurse and Dwane Casey. But whenever someone replaces you, I don't know, man. I just feel like Dwane Casey just feels like he has to win this game every single time. Here's Samson Folk from Raptors Republic. His podcast is going to be fun to listen to after this one. He says Dwane Casey spends $1 million of his $7 million per year salary on scoring and win incentives against the Raptors. I mean, yeah. I don't know. At this point,
yeah, he
owns us.
You got to expect him to have animosity. I mean, we fired him when he got coach of the year, and then we won the championship right after him. Like, Dwane Casey's an old school dude. He's like mafioso. He's gonna write he's gonna write Masai's name down. He's gonna write Nick Nurse's name down, and he's gonna, like, every day look at them when he goes to work. And you know, like, obviously he circles these in his calendar and he's ready to go. And what I love about it is it's one thing to have that vitriol. It's another to motivate your team and get them out there. And every time his team's like, yeah, let's fucking do this. And I've said in the preview, it's like, it's too bad Casey doesn't hate every other team in the league, because then his team wouldn't have only 9 other wins for the year or whatever.
You know, I keep saying the saddest part of this game was, and I think I've said that for like 7 different things, but one of the most dejecting and demoralizing things to watch in this game was the fact that Trey Lyles just could not be handled in the paint. Like, it was one thing offensively for me to go, Toronto, why are we not attacking the paint? Trey Lyles is in there. Like, why are we not attacking the paint? Why are we not attacking the paint? And on the other side, Trey Lyles is listening to me and going, you want me to attack the paint? Okay, watch this. 21.7 rebounds. And I think the biggest thing that stands out for Trey Lyles is the fact that he went to the free throw line 10 times. 10 times in this game and made 9 of them. So, I mean, they couldn't stop him. Chris Boucher was getting absolutely manhandled by Trey Lyles. It felt like for like 3 or 4 possessions in a row, where like it was just man strength versus Chris Boucher, who's, you know, we love Chris Boucher on here as much as other people might not think so. But I mean, he's not built like that. You know, Chris Boucher is built like a pocky stick. So
this scheme we run, like this style of basketball, is like, if you're not working your tail off 100% of the time, it's not going to work. And I mean, on top of that, if you only force 5 steals, or if you only get 5 steals, like Detroit only had 8 turnovers, and I wonder how many of those were dead balls. And, you know, if we're not forcing turnovers, we're not getting out in transition, and then on top of that, we're shooting 29% from 3, we're frinked. Like the margin of error is so thin when you run this kind of style, and on top of that, we missed Gary, who's like one of our only half court scorers outside of our two guys. So
yeah,
it shouldn't be that surprising.
No, it shouldn't have been. I'm looking at the Pistons and what they did tonight. Oh man. Sadiq Bey 15 points. Cade Cunningham had a pretty good game, 18, 7, and 5. Like I mentioned, Trey Lyles, and then Hamidou Diallo had a good game as well. Another thing that stands out for me on the box score, look how the Pistons contributed to the rebounding. I mean, that is as equal as it's going to get between the entire team. 4 from Sadiq, 7 from Cade, 6 from Killian, 6 from Hamidou, 7 from Trey Lyles, 4 Corey Joseph, 2 Saban Lee, 4 from Jackson, 2 from Cassius Stanley. I didn't even know he was on this team, but do you blame me? It's the Detroit Pistons. I mean, that amounts to effort more than anything. So, Adon, let's probably just get into questions. It's been 26 minutes. I said 30 minutes before we started. So
we got 4 left. So, maybe we'll push it a little bit if you guys got questions for us.
Let's go. What do we got? This is a good one. I'm about to pull this one. Oh, Litmus asks, is this Toronto Raptors team too dependent on Fred VanVleet? Adon, what do you think?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, he's bailed us out one too many times. This is one of those games where his like crazy layups weren't going in. I don't know if you remember that like left hand side spinner like hook thing he had the other day. Like those aren't always going to go in. No. You can't have him work like playing 41 minutes when and trying to do everything every game, especially when the other team knows it. So yeah, we definitely rely on him too much. And I keep saying over and over again, like we got to start diversifying our offense and I think Scotty is the key to doing that. But we get behind and we got to go back to Freddie because we need to catch up and we need to catch up fast. And he's our best defender and our best, arguably our best scorer. So.
Yeah, I mean, it's been working. Both things can be correct. Like this team is too dependent on Fred, but it has been working because Fred's been playing out of his mind recently. So, is it a thing that's going to ruin Toronto this season? We're going to find out probably very soon. I still think the Raptors are, a lot of people got at me when I said, the Raptors aren't a guaranteed playoff team this year. Like it's looking good. It's looking good even with this loss. They're 20-19. They currently sit 8th in the Eastern Conference. A lot of people got at me, when I said, I think it was the last show when I said the Pistons are not a guaranteed win, and it's only going to get harder. Don, can you pull up the schedule for us if you can?
No,
it's only going to get harder, man. It really is. Yeah, because you lose against Detroit, and look who we got tomorrow on a back-to-back. None other than the Milwaukee Bucks, who, if I'm not mistaken, Adon, just beat the brakes off of the Golden State Warriors last night. So, and then you got Miami, who, by the way, if you guys do not follow Adrian Wojnarowski or have him on post notifications, which I do, I have him on post notifications. It's been that way for like 10 years. But Bam Adebayo, Bam Adebayo is expected to make his return on Monday, so that doesn't look that great for Toronto. Then you got Dallas. Then you got Washington, who's already beat Toronto this season. Portland is probably the game where you're looking at as, okay, we should win that game because Damian Lillard is not there.
Simons will go for 50.
Yeah, I could see that. Charlotte. LaMelo's been playing great. You guys need to watch the LaMelo highlight from tonight if you haven't already. Him and Miles Bridges is just absolute showtime. I love those two. And then you got Chicago right after. I know it's a little cut off there at the bottom, but if you thought it got easier, you got Chicago at the bottom, guys. So it doesn't get easier. The schedule does not get easier. And by the way, 5 out of the next 7 games on the road.
Yeah, the next 4 are on the road.
I don't want to be doom and gloom, Adon, but
Pistons. I have them over 37 wins this year and making the playoffs on my bets. So let's be a little bit more optimistic. They don't always play like this. They can definitely pull off a couple games. Washington's on the down. I don't ever trust Dallas. Mm-hmm. Portland's a win. Charlotte, I feel like like we can control those, like, you know, it just depends on what kind of what Toronto Raptors team shows up.
Mm-hmm. I think you have to win one out of Milwaukee, Miami, Dallas. If you lose all three, you're not in great shape. But if you
Yeah.
win one and then you steal one in Washington and then Portland, Charlotte, you could even at that point, if you're getting 2 out of those 4 games, you could just take one of the Portland, Charlotte games, and then Chicago's just, I guess, we'll see what happens there. But let's get back to questions. I feel
Next
like I just
question.
completely took over the question. The
I
question
know
period.
Nick M asked, does OG get too deep into the paint and not go up and shoot? And yeah, we've talked about that before. Like he's improved on his balance, but a lot of it is he's kind of this like one line driver that whose momentum carries him too far. And like I think he's working on that and he's getting better at it. And Pascal has really improved in that. You can see him doing the Euro step, you can see him kind of like sidestepping or the floater. And OG's got to develop that part of the game of his game. He's got to start figuring out like maybe it's a pro hop or something else. Because I do notice that he runs into people or he just gets too deep and he's nowhere like he can't take advantage of his drive.
It's a lot of the run, spin move. You're deep in the paint. You're probably 8 to 10 feet away, and then you're just like pump faking, seeing if it's there. And it's either you're throwing up a semi-contested shot or you're just kicking it back out. These are little things I think Raptors fans are starting to notice with the season. Nothing to go too crazy about, but OG's balance has been a thing that a lot of people have talked about. His penchant of pump faking, even when he was open for 3, sometimes in this game, it felt like he was almost in a mental state where, okay, I'm not shooting well. Maybe I shouldn't shoot this one. But it's like, no, OG, we'd prefer if you just shot every open shot. But I mean, that's very natural in basketball. If you've ever coached basketball, you know that happens with players. If you've ever played basketball, you know if you're not shooting well, you start to second guess a lot. And I think that's what OG was doing. And it was kind of hindering the offense a little bit. You know what we should talk about, Adon? I think it's kind of been one of the storylines of the Raptors, at least today, and I commented on it on my Twitter. Jakob Poeltl. He was linked from Mark Stein, who's from ESPN. He was linked to the Raptors today. It says I believe the report stated that the Toronto Raptors were interested in Jakob Poeltl. What do you think about that fit really quickly? Let's just vibe away from this Pistons dark aura for a second.
I love the idea. I don't know what we're giving up for him, but yeah, he is an excellent defensive center.
Yeah.
He understands the Toronto scheme. He was part of bench mob. He can go up and down the court. He fills the lane much more defensively than anybody we have. He's a bigger body. I don't know. I haven't looked of late, but like at rim percentages with him are fairly low, or they were last year at least. So yeah, I mean, I'm down. I'd love to have him back.
Does he instantly become the best roller on the team?
Well, yeah, by far. I mean, does he push our ceiling super far? I don't know. I don't know how much he changes the meter. And
because you got to think about compensation, right? Because I know a lot of people were mentioning a first rounder for Poeltl, and that's probably the only way it gets done because he fits the Spurs timeline, their young timeline. They got Keldon Johnson over there, Devin Vassell.
Yeah, I don't know that they just sell him like that.
Yeah.
I don't know that they need to. What type of trident would that be? I don't know that there's different kinds of tridents, but he would definitely have the net. You know, like you have the net and you have the trident. Poeltl will definitely use the net.
He's the net. He's the net for sure. I just want to see a center other than Kem Birch just finish around the rim, man. Like is that so, hard to ask for? The Raptors are very close where, last season I was searching up, who's available in free agency in the middle of the season or who's available in the G League for big men. I'm getting desperate now, man. I'm getting very desperate. And
we have to trust in this process. Like I know that's kind of like trite to say, but like there's no rushing right now. Like I don't think we should be giving. Like I'm pretty anti Turner, for example. Like I don't think now's the time to invest what value we have in somebody that's only going to push us like so far, you know?
Yeah, at this point, it's going to be a bidding war for Miles Turner. I saw the Dallas Mavericks were interested. A lot of teams should be interested in Miles Turner. He's a talented guy. Maybe his value gets inflated a bit too much on the trade market to the point where Toronto just gets priced out of it. But Toronto has been that long-standing place of, oh, he'd fit so well within Toronto. And I just don't know if at this point, does he make us better? Sure. But at this point, with the compensation required to get him, you're fighting 3, 4, 5. It could be honestly up to 10 teams for Miles Turner. I just don't think it's worth it at this point. I'm not a big fan. Pirtle, I'm a fan of. It's really gonna hurt me to like give up what's looking like a protected first, and probably Chris Boucher for a guy like Pirtle. At this point, the Raptors and their fans honestly just have to kind of. Are you okay with this taking you from a play-in type team to a more, closer spot? You get deeper within that playoff race. Are you okay with that for giving up a protected first?
Yeah,
I don't know, man. I don't know.
You got to ask yourself, like, what's the team's like position realistically, right? Like, I think Brooklyn's maybe ripe for the picking. I don't think we're going to get past Milwaukee, no matter who we have.
Oh hell no.
And probably similarly with Miami. So like, what are we going all in for? And it doesn't have to be all in. Like maybe we can get Pirtle for cheap. I doubt it. Or like somebody similar. Matt T asked if we trade Flynn. Like again, it's like Flynn's values at the floor unless some other team thinks they can turn him into something magical. He's a year and a half into his career. It's bad player personnel management to just ship him unless he's like the tipping point for something like bigger that we're trying to collect. So yeah. I just don't think we should overreact at this trade deadline.
Yeah. Don't overreact too much to the point where you get, you just trade for the sake of trading. People are mentioning Mo Bamba in the comments. Again, it just depends on compensation. Everything depends on compensation, guys, because this isn't, a Raptors team that's not good at drafting. Like if you give Masai a late first-round pick, he somehow gets high first-round pick value out of it. Same thing with the second round, he's getting first-round value. Same thing with undrafted players. He's basically getting first-round value again. So Masai, it seems like he's always hitting on these drafts, maybe minus the recent Malachi Flynn pick. But again, I'm not out on Malachi Flynn. He's just not getting as much minutes on this team. But what I will say is, I don't know, Aiden. I think I'm at the point where you try maybe moving Boucher and you try shoring up that 5 position. If a first rounder that the Raptors own gets thrown into it, I think you back out of the deal. I think that's where I am, man. I genuinely think I can't have the Raptors give away a first-round pick knowing what Masai's done with them in the last decade,
I do hate, and this happens often, like I hate when teams – I remember Tyreek Evans, like Memphis held on to him for no reason. It's just like I hate when teams hold on to expiring contracts when they know they're not going to sign them and they know they're not going to make a huge run. And so like last week I said maybe we should keep Boucher, and like I wouldn't be so upset if we kept him, but at the same time like – we could get value for him now. So I think we will probably trade Boucher ultimately and get something for like either a younger player that has a longer contract behind him or just another pick.
Oh man. You know what, Aiden? I just remembered that we're going to have to pick a taxman.
Oh shit.
Before we wrap it up. And I don't know, guys. Who are we giving the taxman to? Who's our player of the game? I gotta ask. Maybe this is gonna be the first time where we divert completely to the comments to our viewers, and we ask who's the taxman, guys?
Who's the taxman and why?
Who is your player of the game for the Raptors in a very, very ugly defeat? We've got 75 of you in here, live viewers, and this is gonna be the first time we throw it up to you guys. And I think there's a pretty clear answer, but I'm not 100% sure. You guys are going to have to give me the player of the game. Let's see. Phoenix says Siakam. It's not even close.
Everybody's got Siakam.
Litmus. I feel like Litmus, you're always you're on the Champagny train. Like you're there.
He just likes commenting on your pronunciation of him.
Champagny. Champagne. Yeah, we're going Siakam. I think that the Can-Am tax man of the night has to be Siakam. Wow, we see a Dwane Casey. We might have to change that up. Ozim over here says Dwane is the tax man. He might have to be at this point.
Yeah, he took all of our. He's like the sheriff of Nottingham. You know, he came into town, took all our taxes.
I think that the most interesting part of the Detroit Pistons season thus far, which is so sad to say, other than Cade Cunningham, of course, because the first overall pick is always fun to watch. But yeah, thanks, Don, for pulling that up. Appreciate you, man. If you guys didn't suffer through enough misery, there's some more for you. The most interesting part of the Pistons this season has probably had to be the fact that the trade for Bol got voided.
Yeah.
That is probably the most interesting thing of the season for the Pistons, and the Raptors just got swept by them.
Did you hear that they gave away his number too?
Did they really? What was his?
So they traded him, and then they signed James Ennis. James Ennis took Bol's number. Then Bol came back, and his number's gone because James Ennis took it.
Oh, so they redid the trade?
No. I mean Denver. Denver took.
Bol's Denver
number.
Gave away Bol. What is his number, by the way? Do you remember?
I don't know.
Damn, James Ennis. Now you're gonna have to pay for it, and you're not getting paid that much, Bol. That's so awkward though for him. I feel awful for him. Let's get into tax, man. I feel like we've just at this point, Can-Am does like they're pissed with us. Can-Am CPA, guys, is a full service small business accounting and tax firm with an experienced and friendly staff. They also provide personal tax preparation and can recover the funds that you're entitled to. So don't leave your money on the table. If you have questions about your personal taxes, guys, tax season's coming up. Like it's really coming up. Like we're hitting that time. Wow, so Can-Am, they'd be so glad to help the wrap-up community and the Raptors community at large. So check out their Google reviews and visit Can-Am at www.canamtax.com. That's www.canamtax.com. Thanks to Can-Am for sponsoring Wrap Up Live. We appreciate you as per usual, guys. We said we would go 30 minutes. We're now at 42 minutes. It is a Friday night, and you're probably tired of hearing my voice and Adon's voice. So we're probably going to wrap it up right here. Like, guys, if you find, honestly, you know what? Don't tell, the higher ups at Raptors Republic I said this, but if you can't give us a like tonight, I get it. I actually understand. I totally get it after what you just witnessed the Raptors do. But if you have that little ounce within you, just that little bit, like, comment, subscribe if you haven't already. You guys, most of our viewers are not subscribed. I don't understand why, but you're here anyways after every single Raptors
we don't need you.
Game night. Yeah, you know what? Yeah, we don't need you. I'm going to start doing that. Some reverse psychology. Hopefully that works. That's going to end it for us tonight, guys. This was the Wrap Up Your Raptors Republic post-game live show. Your Toronto Raptors were defeated by Dwane Casey's Detroit Pistons 103-87, and that brings the Raptors record to 20-19 on the season. Just one game above 500. This live show was produced by none other than our guy, the legend, the oracle behind the scenes, Don Yang, who's doing all the great work behind the scenes. That was it for myself, Sahal, again here with Adon and Don. We will see you guys tomorrow night. If you want some more misery, come for tomorrow night because Giannis is going to give it to us. We missed out on him last time, but we're definitely going to get him this time.
Let's get the dub.
Saturday night versus Giannis Antetokounmpo and the Milwaukee Bucks. Can't wait to see you guys tomorrow. Bye, guys.